July. Alfonso's Ice Lollies. One warm summer day, Alfonso the cricket invited Bubble the flower beetle, Berry the snail boy, and Dolly the ladybird girl to his house for the afternoon. "Let's make ice lollies," he suggested. "But what from? And how?" asked Bubble. "It's very simple. We just squash a little fruit and put it in paper cups. Then we put sticks in to make ice lollies. Then we pop the cups into the freezer and wait until they're frozen. Then we pull them out of the cups and they're finished." So they made the puree, filled the cups and put them in the freezer. "We can play memory while they're freezing. I brought my memory cards with me," said Bubble. The cards were circular with pictures of all kinds of fruit on them. There were 2 of each, and the game was to find the matching card. Dolly realised that Bubble kept winning. "Oh, Bubble, you're cheating. You've marked the cards." "No, I haven't." "Yes, you have," the ladybird girl barked. "Okay, yes, I marked the cards, but I don't like losing," said the little flower beetle, and he burst into tears. "I don't like losing either," Berry added. "I've got an idea," the cricket announced. "What if we think up a game where we don't play against each other, but together, like a team?" Berry also had an idea. "Not long ago, Eddie, Balthazar, Morris and I decided to catch a train. We ran after it, but Morris was too slow, and we decided that none of us would travel on the train." "Why are you saying that?" Bubble asked. "Because we could make a good game out of that," Berry explained. "The idea is that all 4 players have to arrive at the train before the train driver. If the train driver is quicker, you lose the game because the train is left without you." "That's a super idea. Let's make a dice," said Dolly, and she painted dots on a wooden building block. Alfonso found 5 coloured stones from his pebble collection. "These will be the counters," he proudly announced. Then he produced a piece of paper and they drew 5 paths, the train and the players' houses. "Alfonso can start from the orange dot, Dolly from the red, and me from the blue, and Bubble from the yellow," Berry explained. "And the engine driver can start from the green dot," Bubble decided. "Let's start!" The engine driver was very nearly there when the last of the 4 players arrived at the platform. "Yes, we won!" Bubble shouted out. "It's time we checked on the ice lollies," the cricket interrupted. Alfonso was right, and the ice lollies were frozen. They all enjoyed their ice-cold treats. "Come on, let's go for a swim," said Alfonso when they had all eaten their lollies. They were soon joined by a visitor as the rainbow fish swam past them. Berry and Dolly asked their fishy friend to let them jump off its back into the water, and it happily joined in the fun. Then the friends spent the rest of the summer afternoon splashing around until they got tired and it was time to go home.
Dr. Owl gets sick. The first snow had begun to fall. Berry and Dolly sat mesmerised as they watched the white snowflakes cover all they could see. The next day, the side of the hill was blanketed in a thick layer of snow. The ladybird girl fetched her sledge, and there was enough space on it for 3. Bubble at the front, Berry in the middle, and Dolly at the back.
The whole forest is white,
the spider cheered. The lake soon froze over in the chilly temperatures. The little friends had lots of fun skating on the ice. Bubble, don't chew the icicles, Dolly shouted to the baby beetle, but Bubble's mind was elsewhere. Come, let's build a snowman, the snail boy said, but Bubble was not in a good mood. I've got a sore throat, Berry. We'll build a snowman another time, okay? Berry called Dr. Owl to come and take a look at Bubble.
Open wide,
the old owl instructed his patients.
Oh, it's very red. You've got a very sore throat and you need to rest in bed for a couple of days.
The little friends visited Bubble every day. Dolly even made him special tea. Flutter read Bubble's stories. She put the book down when the baby beetle drifted off to sleep and carried on from the same place when he woke up again. A couple of days passed and Bubble was feeling much better. We can build that snowman now, Bubble said to Berry with a smile. Berry and Dolly decided to invite their friends for lunch. The guests all arrived at noon. It's really delicious, Balthazar enthused. Why isn't Dr. Owl here? I don't know, Dolly replied. Perhaps he forgot. I know why Dr. Owl didn't come today. He's not well. He caught a chill. I met his chicks and they told me. That can't be right, Bubble blustered. Doctors never get sick. Why can't doctors get sick? A mechanic's car breaks down now and again. And a cobbler gets holes in his shoes, Flutter explained to Bubble. Let's pay him a visit, and we can make him a present because it's very nearly Christmas, Berry suggested. The 4 boys sat together and made a candle holder for Dr. Owl. They glued pieces of wood together, painted winter pictures on them, and added candles on top.
It looks lovely,
Stanley said, sounding satisfied. The girls made a colourful wreath out of paper.
Dr. Owl can hang it on his front door,
Leapy smiled. The next day they went to see Dr. Owl. The old owl was weak and lying in bed, but he was delighted to see his visitors.
Oh, they are beautiful,
he said with a warm smile when he unwrapped his presents. By the time Christmas Day came around, Dr. Owl was feeling much better. Mama Owl put biscuits and cordial on the table, and the owl chicks got out their favourite cards. They chatted and played together for a long time. On their way home, they saw that Dr. Owl had placed the wreath on his front door, and the candles were burning brightly in his window. Dumplings. One autumn day, Dolly the ladybird cooked plum dumplings and invited her friends to lunch. Berry came along, and so did Balthazar, Stanley and Flutter. The little ladybird girl put 3 dumplings on each plate. Berry, Dolly and Flutter were soon full. Plum dumplings. I love them. I could eat 5, said Balthazar the bee.
5 is nothing. I could eat 7.
7? I could eat 8.
I could eat 10,
The little stag beetle announced. Then let's have a competition, Balthazar concluded.
Let's see who can eat the most dumplings.
Dolly didn't like the sound of this, and she tried to talk them out of it, but the boys were determined. It'll all end in tears, she warned, but Balthazar and Stanley wouldn't listen. We've already eaten 3 dumplings. Now let's eat the 4th, Stanley suggested, and he plopped another dumpling onto each plate. When they had finished, they put another on their plates and ate a 5th dumpling each. After the 5th, they ate a 6th. After the 6th, they ate a 7th. After the 7th, they ate an 8th. And then a 9th dumpling.
And now for the 10th. Can you keep going?
Balthazar asked. I could eat twice as many, Stanley said with a shrug. The 2 friends ate so many dumplings that their tummies started to hurt more and more. I'll run and get Dr. Owl, shouted Flutter the butterfly. Dr. Owl examined them both and gave them a good telling off. What have you 2 been doing? I'm not surprised that you've got stomachache.
They ate 15 each, Berry said as he counted the plum stones on the plates.
And so it was a draw after all. It was a very silly thing to do. You'll only be allowed to eat boiled potatoes for 3 days. But the chimney cake man's coming to the forest tomorrow, Stanley complained. I'm very sorry, but there's going to be no chimney cake for you. Come and see me in 3 days and I'll take a look at your tummies again, Dr. Owl said with a scowl, and he flew away home. The very next day, the firebug arrived in the meadow with his delicious chimney cakes. All the forest friends flocked to the stall to sample his tasty wares. I'd like a cinnamon one, Dolly said. And I'd like a coconut one, Berry added. I only want sugar on mine, Flutter shouted. But there were also cakes with walnuts, poppy seeds and chocolate on them. Balthazar and Stanley looked sadly on, but they did as Dr. Owl had told them. On the 3rd day, the little bee and his stag beetle friend went to see Dr. Owl. Now let's take a look at you, said the elderly owl, as he examined them both thoroughly. You appear to be better. I can see that you did as you were told. We did, Stanley said with a sob, but I so wanted to eat a chimney cake. Stanley and Balthazar said goodbye to Dr. Owl and were walking home when the old bird shouted after them. Wait 1 second. I've got something for you here. I saved 2 chimney cakes for you.
You went to the meadow, Dr. Owl?
Of course. I bought chimney cakes for my chicks and I put 2 away for you. You did exactly as I said, and so I thought you deserved a treat. Thank you, the 2 friends said with a smile, and they both threw their arms around Dr. Owl. Blueberries. One sunny autumn day, Berry and Dolly went into the forest to pick blueberries. Their friends Flutter the butterfly and Eddie the potato beetle went with them. I'm going to pick the most blueberries, Eddie announced. Look, this bush is full of ripe blueberries, the little snail said. I'm going to pick them all. But Eddie jumped in front of Berry and quickly picked the biggest berries. This bush is full of berries too, Dolly told the others. But the little potato beetle was faster again. By the time Dolly got to the bush, he'd already picked the best of the berries. Eddie, that's not fair. Don't pick all the berries, the little ladybird complained. Then the friends came to a stream. Let's build a bridge over the stream, Flutter suggested. And I know exactly how. Let's all go and bring that big log here. They had to work hard to pull the heavy log over the stream. The little friends made a super bridge together.
It's done,
Flutter sighed.
Look, there's another blueberry bush with lots of berries on it.
That was Eddie's cue.
I'm going to get there first. Those blueberries are all mine,
he shouted triumphantly. But he pushed past Flutter so hard that she slipped and fell into the stream.
Help! Don't worry, Flutter. Hold on to me,
Dolly shouted and stretched her hand out to the floundering butterfly. But the water flowed too fast and Flutter couldn't reach Dolly. Berry picked up a long stick.
Grab the stick, Flutter,
he shouted. But this didn't work either, because the river started to carry the little butterfly away.
Eddie, help! We've got to pull poor Flutter out of the water,
Dolly yelled, and they pulled the soggy butterfly out of the stream.
Oh my, I'm so cold. I'm very, very cold. And my little wings are soaked through.
Here, take my jumper. It's all my fault. I'm so sorry, Flutter, Eddie said.
That's very nice of you, Dolly said. But you'll catch a cold too without your jumper. We should collect a large pile of leaves and wrap Flutter up in them.
Berry, Dolly and Eddie gathered a big bunch of burdock leaves and covered the shivering butterfly with them.
I'm still very cold and my wings don't work. Look, they're all wet and ruined.
Flutter started to sob. The sun took pity on the weeping butterfly and came down close to warm her wings. Flutter's wings were soon beautifully dry and as good as new.
Hooray! I'm all dry and warm at last. Thank you, sun,
Flutter said with a smile. I'm so sorry, Flutter, Eddie said. I promise I won't pick all the blueberries next time. I want you to have all the ones that I've picked.
Thank you, Eddie. Why don't we share them instead? Let's hurry home and bake a blueberry pie.
The friends all walked back to Flutter's house and got to work straight away. They picked all the leaves off and gave the blueberries a good wash. Spoons stirred and pans clattered until the kitchen was filled with the sweet smell of delicious blueberry pie. The yummy dessert was soon ready. Stanley the stag beetle, Balthazar the bee and Bubble the baby beetle came along to join the feast. The forest friends all sat around the table and chatted late into the night. The Snowman. One cold winter morning, Berry the snail knocked on Dolly's front door. Let's go and play with my sledge in the snow. Dolly quickly put on her winter coat and her hat, scarf and gloves. She sat on the sledge and the little snail pulled her along. Eventually, the snow stopped. Berry and Dolly enjoyed the winter sunshine. They sledged down the steep side of the hill.
Look at that super snowman,
Berry shouted.
Oh dear, we're going to hit it.
But it was too late. The sledge ran right into the snowman that stood at the foot of the hill. Did you hurt yourself? Berry asked Dolly.
No, I didn't, but I think we've ruined the snowman.
Yes, it tipped right over, Berry said. I'm going to eat its carrot nose.
Let's have a snowball fight with the snow from the snowman.
Berry and Dolly started to throw snowballs. It was a lot of fun. Soon there was almost nothing left of the snowman.
Just then, Balthazar the bee appeared and said hello to his friends.
Do you want to throw snowballs with us?
I'm too busy. I've brought a hat and a scarf to put on my snowman I built yesterday. Haven't you seen it?
Berry and Dolly looked at each other. Oh dear, Berry whispered. Balthazar must be looking for the snowman we hit. They didn't dare tell Balthazar that they'd knocked his snowman over.
No, we haven't seen a snowman.
I can't find my snowman anywhere.
Berry and Dolly felt very sorry for the little bee. Don't be sad, Berry said finally. Let's build a new one. Okay, Balthazar sniffled. Dolly made the biggest snowball. It went on the bottom. Balthazar made the middle one for the snowman's tummy. And Berry made the smallest snowball for the snowman's head. Then Dolly lifted Berry up so he could stick the head on top. Then the snowman was finished and Balthazar could finally put the stripy scarf around its neck. Berry took a big jump and put the red saucepan on its head for a hat.
Hey, it looks really super,
Balthazar said enthusiastically. Balthazar, we've got something to tell you. We smashed your first snowman. We slid right into it with our sledge. It was an accident.
What? It was you?
Balthazar was very surprised, but then he soon forgave his friends.
This snowman looks much better than the first one,
he declared.
Come on, let's sledge down the hill together.
Berry, Dolly and Balthazar played with the sledge until it got dark and were very careful not to hit their new snowman.